Okay, so last week, week 17, we have covered a related topic. Okay, so it's called Kali's Four Legs, Four Pillars of Spiritual Life. So now, before I move on, I would like to tell you upfront that today's class is going to be a little technical. So you may want to get yourself comfortable, have your water ready, or your phone, put away. We don't want any distractions. And you want to get ready your notes, okay, to take down information. And Bhagavad Gita, of course, keep it next to you. And yeah, so get yourself comfortable. If you have a laptop, it'll be good for your, it's for better visual experience, okay? There'll be some readings. So we don't want any interruptions or trouble reading, okay? All right, so let's move on to the recap. Those who have attended last week, and also those in our group who have received the PDF, because even if you did not attend the class, the recording is available. The PDF have been shared. So I really hope that you have time some time to go through run through the PDF. Okay, so Kali's Four Legs versus Four Pillars of Spiritual Life. Okay. This is okay. So the first question: the personality of Kali is the cause of irreligion. What was he doing when Maharaj Parikshit found him? Before that, who is Maharaj Parikshit in the picture? What can you recall about Maharaj Parikshit?
He was the ruler of earth that time.
Okay. Whose son was he? How was he related to Krishna?
Arjuna's son.
Arjuna's son? Tak ada.
Abhimanyu's son.
Ya, siapa Abhimanyu?
Say again?
Who is Abhimanyu?
Arjuna's son.
Yeah, so that is the line. Okay, very good. So that is the basic. And Maharaj Parikshit is a very important personality for us because we received Bhagavatam because of him. Okay, so that is a Bhagavatam background. So now focus on the topic. So he appeared at a place. Okay, and he saw this personality of Kali was doing something. What was he doing? Kala Mataji. Who is this personality of Kali? How did he look like? Yamuna Mataji, did you manage to catch up with the recording or the PDF?
No, Mataji, sorry.
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Hare Krishna, Sonia Mataji, welcome. Meena Mataji, do you remember how the personality of Kali appeared? How did he look like? Did he look very handsome and built with a nice opulent dressing? How did he look like? Personality of Kali, not Maharaja Parikshit.
He looked ugly.
Yeah. And how did he dress up? He looked like?
Horrible.
Okay. Any other information about him? He was a Sudra dressed up like a
King.
yes. Okay. First question done. What was he doing when Maharaja Parikshit found him?
He was beating.
He was waking the bull.
Yes, correct. Who else was there? Or what else were there? Oh, yeah, actually it's who?
Mother Earth.
Yes. So what was the personification of Mother Earth?
The cow.
The cow, yes. Now, when he was beating the bull, what was the condition of the bull?
It was
Anyone?
so standing on one leg and urinating.
On? Yes, Mataji, standing on?
One foot, one leg,
Yes. Okay. Now bulls have how many legs?
4.
4 legs. Okay, I want everybody to answer. Yeah, you can put in the chat also. All right. So what are the 4 legs? What are the 4 legs? The 4 legs are the 4 pillars of spiritual life. 4 legs of Dharma. So what are the legs of Dharma? Okay, please refer to your notes or PDF. If you don't know, you can write it down when somebody answers. We have to
Austerity,
move on. Okay,
cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness.
mercy, truthfulness. So, already go for. Param Prabhu's wife answering, is it?
No, I'm driving now.
Ah, okay. I can't see who's answering. Okay, Prabhu, please drive safe. You just listen, okay? Don't look at the
Okay.
phone. Okay, who were answering just now? I can't see your name appearing. Okay, can you please repeat? Can somebody else repeat the 4 legs of Dharma? Okay, shall I call name? Roja Mataji?
Cleanliness, austerity,
Yes.
truthfulness,
Yes.
mercy.
Okay, very good. So somebody else, please write in the chat these 4 legs of Dharma. Okay, as we move on, somebody please write it down. It's okay if it's more than 1 person, that's good also. Okay, this is to reinforce your understanding. Okay, now 4 pillars of Dharma versus 4 vices, Kali's 4 legs. So what are the 4 main vices? Thank you, Kritika Mataji. 4 main vices or 4 sinful activities. Okay, 4 pillars of religion also we covered already. Okay, here, this one, 4 main vices. Kali's 4 legs. This is the main topic of last week, last class. Meena Mataji, would you like to try at least one? Kala Mataji.
Mataji, is it 4 things will gradually diminish, is it?
That one is the 4 pillars, 4 things. But you can reword it like 4 things that will destroy the 4 pillars.
Is that like gambling?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Gambling and
You can work
Illicit connection.
illicit.
it. Yes, correct.
Illicit connection.
Yes.
Indulgence in meat eating.
Okay,
Intoxication.
correct.
Taking pleasure in gambling.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mataji. Can we have another person to try? Gandhi Mataji has provided it in different terms, but I will explain that. One more person, please try, please try. Come on.
Okay, I'll try.
Yes.
Sweet sex,
Okay.
intoxication,
Intoxication.
gambling leading to cheating,
Okay.
lack of cleanliness.
Cleanliness. Okay. Okay. All 4, right? Okay. So basically it is Vasiki Mataji here? Not yet. Kartini Mataji also not here. Okay. Okay, so those 4 main vices are intoxication, meat eating. Okay, meat eating will destroy which pillar?
Mercy, Mataji.
Okay, can somebody, as we discuss here, somebody please type it out in the chat, okay? Meat eating will destroy mercy. Very good. Okay. Next, Intoxication will destroy.
Truthful, no. Truthfulness. No.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sorry. Intoxication, right? No, not truthfulness.
Then it should be austerity.
Apa ni?
Guessing game.
Okay. Meat eating will destroy mercy. Very good. Kritika Mataji, Sonia Mataji. Okay. Next, intoxication destroy austerity. Kantimati Mataji, correct. Okay. So please write it in full. So those who come, they can just take notes from the chat box. Okay. Very good, Kritika Mataji. Third one, illicit sex destroys.
Truthfulness.
Nahi.
Then there's only one more left.
Ya, cikgu ni macam mana?
Apa ini? There's cleanliness. Oh yeah. Okay.
Illicit sex destroys cleanliness. Okay, last one, gambling destroys
Finally, truthfulness.
truthfulness. Okay, ini elimination game.
Yes. Aduh.
Okay, so please take note all the notes that our friends have put in the chat. So remember this, how there are originally 4 pillars. Now, as the yugas progresses, each pillar is being destroyed and by which activity. Okay, so at the end of the class, the other day, I mentioned that these pillars, even though they are being crumbled down around us, we can't possibly go and rebuild them externally. But what we can do? What can we do within our capacity? Do you all remember what I say?
Don't participate in the 4 activities.
Okay. All right. Can you elaborate that, Mataji?
As in, don't gamble, don't drink, don't involve in prostitution, and don't eat meat.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Mataji. So we re-establish or we maintain that 4 pillars in our individual life. Okay. So this is not yet regulated principles of Bhakti. This is not yet Bhakti yet. It is not entering the Bhakti topic yet. This is just a general values and good virtuous activities that we should maintain in order to have a disturbance-free life, a basic need, the basic thing that we have to follow. Okay, after that only we are going into regulations of Bhakti. So this is not like only ISKCON people will follow this, or only vegetarian people will follow this, only spiritual people will follow this. So this is not that concept. These 4 pillars everybody should follow. Okay, if at the basis if everybody follow this, then the world have much less problems. Okay, so we will move on. I forgot to give you the speak your mind topic earlier. So this is the topic. In the recent past, have you had an obsession that you could not fulfill? Okay, so we have covered all this, yeah? Okay, who is the personality of Kali? Who is Maharaja Parikshit? What was the personality of Kali doing when Maharaja Parikshit found him? And then the 4 main vices, 4 pillars of religion. Okay, so actually I wanted to comment on how Gandhimati Mataji commented that. Mataji mentioned this way. Let's go back here. Gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter. Can somebody elaborate why Gandhimati Mataji mentioned these 4 activities in these terms? Whatever we have done earlier, it was correct also. Gambling, illicit sex, meat eating, and what else? Illicit sex, right? Okay. So why Mataji has chosen these terms? How do we relate this to our topic? Or to the personality of Kali? Who can tell the story briefly? Yes,
Maharaja Parikshit wanted to kill Kali, and then
Correct.
Kali said, please don't kill me, give me a place to stay. Then Maharaja Parikshit said, okay, you are allowed to stay in a place where all these 4 activities is happening.
Yes, very good. One more, please. There's 4 plus 1. Ada bonus.
I don't remember, Mataji, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Everybody else? One more place. If now we are calling it money, in ancient time, what do we call it?
Gold, Mataji, gold.
Yes, gold, Mataji, gold. Okay, so all these places the Kali will reside. So we have to be very careful where all these 5 activities are taking place. Okay, so that is the explanation. So there are various ways you can answer this. You can answer as in where the personality of Kali is allowed to reside and the 4 kinds of activities that can destroy the 4 pillars. So now let's go back to our energizer question. In the recent past, have you had an obsession that you could not fulfill? Okay, so do not worry that you will be judged. Okay, my class, please be frank. Okay, we are here to share and learn. Of course, you have seen how we have shared our thoughts and hearts in the past. Okay, so don't worry. It doesn't have to be really spiritual all the time. Anything at all. Any obsession that you could not fulfill. Anybody would like to try? How about Sonia Mataji? Let's make an icebreaker here by inviting you to speak. Are you comfortable, Sonia Mataji, to speak? Mataji, can you hear us? Karpia Saraswati Mataji, would you like to share?
Actually, I don't have any obsessions.
Oh, Mataji, you are so renounced. I am so envious of you. Nah, just kidding. Okay.
Last few days, I've already abstained from drinking coffee and tea. I hope I can continue.
Haribol, Mataji, so yes, that's a great progress. Congratulations.
They're not for me. I hope I can maintain it.
Yes, yes. No worries, Mataji. You will be able to. Very good progress. Okay. Is there any obsession in the past that you were not able to fulfill?
Obsession. Actually, I'm a very simple person, so I don't have any obsessions.
Okay, very good, Mataji. Very good. You are naturally spiritualist. Okay, anybody else? I'm not sure who is able to speak. So if you can volunteer, that will be very easy and very quick instead of me calling the names and waiting, then there's no response. Param Prabhu, are you home? Okay, Param Prabhu maybe went for a shower. Saras Mataji.
Sorry,
Yes.
I have no obsession.
Wow, very good. Okay, obsession means something that you have desired, but you're not able to achieve it or get it or attain it. So basically, that's what this question is asking. Nothing.
Mataji, I have one.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm obsessed with hiking.
Hiking, okay.
Okay, and then there's something called G7, which is like the 7 highest peak in Malaysia lah. So
Okay.
I was super obsessed to fulfill it, like try hiking one by one, try conquering the peak one by one. But then I met with an injury and then I could not fulfill it until now. So it's like 2 years plus already.
Oh, Mataji, I hope you recover soon because I think there's a healthy indulgence. It's a healthy lifestyle. Okay. Yeah, so safety first. Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Any other, how about material obsession? Like you wanted to change car or you wanted to buy a better car or something like that, and then it was not fulfilled or something like that. Gandhi Mataji, anything you want to share?
Yeah, my material wise, no, not much of material obsession. But would you call like if you have an obsession to carry on tales from what you hear from one person to another person? Is that an obsession?
Carry what, Mataji?
You know, sometimes you listen to some people.
Okay.
Rumors, whether rumors or tales or.
Yeah, yes. But is there a situation where you are not able to fulfill that? Like you
Sometimes you are in a position where you know that it might be just a rumor, or it might not be. There might have some truth in whatever the person is talking about, and you want to convey it to the other person who is they are talking about, but you can't, because then it will be like carrying tales. And sometimes that it is an obsession, because you feel like your head is going to burst if you don't say it.
Yes, I understand. You want to share the information, but you're afraid that it's not true, right? Something like that.
It might not be true, or it might jeopardize the relationship, or something like that. So it's very it's very difficult position to be in.
Yeah, it's good that you have put some thoughts before, right? Then sometimes we have to question ourselves, introspect. Is it true? Is it beneficial, or something like that, right?
Yes, you have to weigh.
So the gossip stops at the person who doesn't share, right? Yeah.
True. Yeah, hopefully. I'm trying to get that also, so that your mind will be in peace, so you don't have to carry it to the next person.
Correct.
That kind of session. But it's okay. It's not harmful, but sometimes as a human being, you tend to go through that kind of situation.
Yes, that's right. Yes, this is called austerity of mind. And Prabhupada explained that, Prabhupada or Krishna, they say that the best austerity of the mind is to always think of the welfare of others. So if you always put that in front, then we would not want to share uncertain information, unverified information.
Okay.
Very good. Thanks for sharing this. Okay, so did I have any obsession in the past? Okay, maybe in the recent past, I wanted to buy a car, but I couldn't fulfill it because why? I didn't have enough money. Okay, so I didn't have enough money. So I didn't buy the car. Okay, that's it. Okay. Anyway, my existing car is not too old. It's just that suddenly I feel like I need a better car because I started driving to work and I felt like I need a better car. Previously, I bought this small car because I was just going to school, sending the kids and come back. So now when my husband working in a different place, so I have to drive myself to the office, and I felt I need better car, bit better absorber. Then I realized, okay, never mind. Then I tried to draw the advantages and disadvantages, that this car has a low maintenance, and if I'm going to go for a better car, then the maintenance is high. Even if I want to repair anything, this is more affordable. So because of that, I have to let go the obsession over that particular car, and be practical about it. Okay, so that's my obsession, but it didn't last too long, so it's okay because I'm a very practical person. Okay, so it wasn't a very big challenge for me. So like this, okay, so like this, we are always pushed by our obsessions to do something we do not want to do. We do not want to do, but how nice if I have that. We have that, and even once you have it, what do we feel? After you have it, what do you feel? What is the feel that we get after you achieve something?
Not satisfied. One more.
You just took the words out of my mouth. Yep. Yeah, even after doing so, we are never satisfied. Oh, okay, this comes. Okay, tambah lagi another 200 cc lah. Like that. Okay, we add on and on and on and on. So, anybody from economic background? Anybody from economic background here? Secondary school or university? No? Okay, I'm from economic background. So the definition of economy is to utilize the limited resources in the world to satisfy the unlimited need of human. So you don't have to be really spiritualist to come up with this. It's already said in the economic books. Okay, so we always want to do something, we're always obsessed to do something, but even after doing so, we are never satisfied. Why? Why are we not satisfied? What is it that pushing us to keep asking for more and more and more? So that is the topic of our week today. Sorry, it's 8:40. Okay, reasons for and places of sin. So if you remember our previous topic, the 4 legs of Kali. So basically 4 kinds of sin. Okay, intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex, and gambling. And why we are forced to do these things and also committing other sinful activities is because there is one enemy residing in us. Okay, so again, I'm reiterating what we have covered previously. So those who have forgotten what has happened 2 weeks ago, or you did not attend the class, so please remember this. We discussed 4 major sins and then why they are the cause of the trouble in this age. Okay, so today we will discuss why we engage in these sinful activities and where is that enemy coming from? The enemy who's asking us to do this. Oh, gosh, do this, you can go for this, this is going to give you pleasure. Okay, who is that? Okay, so this is the aim of this week. Now, we always think that since super soul is sitting next to our spirit soul, is it that the super soul is forcing us to do these sinful actions? Is he allowing us to do this? Okay, if he is God, then why is he allowing us to do this? Okay, so we ask these kind of questions. So the truth is that the sinful actions are not induced or impelled by the super soul within, but it is caused by another element in, it's gonna come up in the subsequent verses. So this is our greatest enemy. Who is our greatest enemy? We will see what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. We need somebody to read this. Who can read for us?
I can read, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world."
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So now we are going to dissect the points. Okay, so you really have to pay attention here. Okay, so what is the enemy? Who is the enemy here? Who is our
Lust.
enemy?
Lust.
Lust. Yes, very good. This lust. Okay, this is the point. Okay, so the lust is that force that impels one to act sinfully. And this verse also giving us some characteristics of lust. Who can give me the first characteristic? It's all sudah tersurat inside this verse.
The mode of passion is tamas gunam, is it?
No, passion is rajas.
Rajas gunam.
Raju gunam.
Rajo gunam.
So the lust is born of mode of passion. Okay, that is one characteristic. Second, what happens to it?
Later transform into wrath.
Yes, changes into wrath, anger. Okay, we will see why it's changing to anger. Okay, so anger is already tamas. Okay, it is not mentioned here, but the wrath, you can take note that this is mode of ignorance already. It comes from passion and then it takes us to ignorance. And then, of course, eventually, this is what is forcing us to act sinfully. Therefore, it is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Now, we have okay, lust is that force which impels one to act sinfully. So how do we apply this? So you can see that the lust also has its origin. It's coming from somewhere. It's actually coming from the pure love that we have for Krishna. However, it has been reflected upon us. Instead of we try to love and serve and satisfy Krishna's senses, we use it to satisfy our senses. And when that happens, that becomes lust. That pure love for God becomes lust. Okay, so lust is basically the intense desire to please our senses. Okay, it is not just desire, it is intense desire, excessive desire to please our senses. So we are, this is called the perverted reflection of the soul's a soul's original intense desire to please Krishna's senses. So you get the point. Instead of we are trying to please Krishna's senses, when we engage it, when we apply it to serve our senses, then it becomes lust. Okay, so we'll explain that further. So lust is our greatest enemy. We are clear about this. What is lust? Based on the explanation that I just gave, who can fill in this equation? What is the original substance here?
Desire.
No. Somebody,
Passion
please.
plus anger.
No, Mataji, what actually, or what is the origin of lust? I just explained, right? Remember? Krishna and us. Come.
Instead of satisfying Krishna, we satisfy ourselves.
Okay, so your answer will be love. Okay, love for Krishna. So this pure love for Krishna comes into contact with what?
Material nature in mode of passion.
Yes, the mode of passion. So when love for Krishna is contaminated by the mode of passion, what does it give us?
Lust.
Very good. Simple mathematics. Okay. All right. So this is about when and what, when it comes to contact in what changes love into lust. Okay. So basically when the living entity comes in contact with the material creation, basically the moment we are in this material world, there is lots of influences of these three modes of material nature have impact on us. And one of it is changing the pure love that we have for Krishna into lust, is transformed into lust when it comes in association with the mode of passion. So this is a very simple equation. When you see that you're a pure person, and when you come into contact with, when you start associating with bad people, you become bad. Okay, so basically this is the maths.
Mataji,
Okay. Yes.
the equation doesn't, I think, I don't know, it's sort of mismatched, like love plus is equals to lust. Love plus, how does that equate? How does that?
It's not equate, it results in lust.
Yeah, it results, it's not equate, right? It's
yeah, it results.
Results in lust.
Yes, it results. Yes, correct. Okay, it transforms love into lust. Actually, it's a change. Yeah, it's a change. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So, in other words, our sense of love of God becomes lust when we come in contact with this material world. Just like milk, it comes into contact with sour tamarind, transforms into curd. Okay, or it becomes curd. Okay. All right. So this is another example. Now, lust is bad. All right. Why lust is bad? When, okay, here we have a statement here, when unsatisfied. Let's talk about satisfied. When the lust is satisfied, what do we get? What happens to us?
Become peaceful.
When lust is satisfied?
We become peaceful.
We become arrogant.
Arrogant. Tadu.
When
Okay.
unsatisfied.
Okay, for example, you go to ambil number lah, lottery, you put RM1. I don't know how does it work. Okay, I think 4 number, right? One ringgit. Then you get RM200 reward. And then what do you do next?
Buy more.
What is that?
Unsatiated desire.
Unsatiated. What is that in one word?
Obsession.
No. What is your intention when you want to go and buy more? This time you probably want to buy for RM5.
Greedy.
Yes, when lust is satisfied, it we become greedy. Okay, we want to do more and more and more and more. Remember the earlier concept? It's never satisfied. Very good, Roja Mataji. Yes. When lust is unsatisfied, what happens? This one also was in the verse just now. I'm just trying to let you all take out the right word.
Wrath.
Yes, become angry. If you don't satisfy, you become angry. Okay, so this anger, it's capable of putting us under illusion. Okay, that I have to get it. I have to do this. I am identified with these achievements. So this is the cycle that's going to keep us entangled in this material world. Okay, therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity because it keeps us entangled in the material world. Why? Because as we are baffled in this mode of passion and being angry because the lust is not satisfied, we are trapped in the mode of ignorance. Okay, we do not try to break free. Okay? So instead of degrading passion to ignorance, okay, from passion degrading to ignorance, we should wake up and we should upgrade it to goodness. Okay, we should utilize the lust in the right way so we do not degrade ourselves to ignorance, but go upward towards goodness. So which means we need to save ourselves. How? Okay, saving ourselves. Okay, material mode of passion, it leads to ignorance, and our duty now is that our action plan is to elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness. And how do we do this? We follow a certain way of acting and living. Okay, so we already know what is the problem. If we do not take care of this, we're going to fall to this ignorance. So if you're going to take care of this, to go here, what should we do? We should do this. We should make changes to the way that we live, the way that we act. Okay, so this is how we can save ourselves. Okay. Okay. Now, before we go here, right, we want to identify ourselves. What is the first question that we covered in our level 3? The humans ask 3 questions, right? What are the 3 questions that we ask ourselves?
Who am I?
Yes. Okay. Who am I? So in the beginning, that's the first question. A person who is inclined towards spirituality, the first question he will ask himself is, who am I? He will start asking, searching answers for that. Who am I? So who am I? We are all parts and parcels of Supreme Lord. And he has given us independence. So this slides, okay, it's explaining how we have been trapped into this, okay, in this process, in the cycle. Okay, we have been given independence. However, what happens is that we misuse this independence. Okay, Krishna gives us a very minute amount of independence. Otherwise, we're just going to be like a rock. We don't have any feelings. We cannot make any choice. We don't have freedom of will. Okay, so we have this very small free will. However, what we did is we misused this independence, and instead of having the service attitude, we have taken the step of a sense enjoyment. So when we are continuously drowned in this enjoying the sense, the enjoying mode, we are influenced by lust. Okay, how this happens is that Krishna knows that we want to enjoy. Okay, we all want to enjoy. Life is short. Enjoy. Live your life to the fullest. Okay, Krishna knows that we want to enjoy. So Krishna gave us this material world for us to enjoy. Okay. Now, this is the purpose of the material creation. Krishna gives us the facility to this conditioned souls, us, to fulfill our lustful propensities. Okay. However, what happens is that, okay, however, what happens is that because we are too long trapped in this, Okay, became very difficult for us to break free. But a person who has this realization, what am I doing here? So the person will pause and start asking about the real position. So this is what we should do. One should inquire, what? Who am I? What am I doing here? Where am I going after this? So this is called inquiry into the Supreme. Atato Brahma Jijnasas. This is the beginning of the Vedanta Sutras. If you remember the class that we had for Who Am I, the first line in the Vedanta Sutra is, who am I? Inquire into the Absolute. Inquire into the Supreme. So you will know who is Brahman, who is Supreme Brahman. We are the Brahman and Supreme Brahman is Krishna. Okay, so origin of everything is Krishna. Therefore, the origin of lust is also coming from Krishna, because the pure love that we're supposed to have for him has been transformed into lust. So these are the questions that we need to ask. Why, where, when, how, who, what? Okay. Inquiry into the Supreme. Can we have somebody to read this two lines here on the blue image and also the one below here? Anyone?
Okay, I'll do Mataji.
Yes, sir.
Inquiry into the Supreme. Meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes.
Okay, the line below, Prabhu. Can you
Srimad.
Huh? No, the Supreme
Oh,
is
okay, the bottom one. Supreme is defined in Srimad Bhagavatam as Janmadi Asya Yato Vayet Itaras Cha or
the origin of
the slide is too big. I cannot read.
Okay, no problem, Prabhu. I will read. I'm sorry. Supreme is defined in Srimad Bhagavatam as the origin of everything is the Supreme Brahman. So it means the Supreme is the origin of everything. So basically this question gives us introduction about where we came from, what is our identity, for us to understand why the last happened, where we should go moving forward. So we have to inquire this, who am I, who is God? Okay, so when we have these two things laid out and understood, then we can move forward. Okay, first of all, when you go introduce yourself, they will ask you, who are you, where are you coming from? And then they will know, and then both of you will know what is the direction forward. So this is the direction that we are setting here. Okay, we are setting the course, inquiry into the Supreme. Okay, if you know who is the Supreme, then you know what is your position. Okay, so basically Supreme means the one that everything came from him. Okay, now originally, okay, we supposed to be desiring everything from Krishna. So in that way, both lust and wrath can be spiritualized. Okay, so so we just had Ramanavami last week. A very important personality in Ramanavami got angry and he started burning everything. Who is that person?
Hanuman.
Very good. Hanuman. And see how he utilized his anger in the service of his Supreme Lord. Hanuman, the great servitor of Lord Rama, exhibited his wrath by burning the golden city of Ravana. But by doing so, he became the greatest devotee of the Lord because he did not do it to satisfy his senses. Okay, he wants to serve the Lord. Okay, so in this way, the lust is transformed into love for the Supreme. The anger has been spiritualized. Okay, so so we won't go to the background of the story. Okay, we're just showing you the examples. So another example here. What happens here? Who's supposed to display the mode of anger to be involved in war? Is it Krishna, the horses? Is it Arjuna? Can
This
you
is Krishna and Arjuna, right?
correct? Okay. Who is supposed to engage the anger, the wrath? Can you kill somebody without feeling angry?
Arjuna. Arjuna.
Yeah, so Arjuna is supposed to get angry, then only he can perform that activity. Okay, the Lord induces Arjuna to engage his wrath upon his enemies for the satisfaction of the Lord. Of course, Arjuna is angry because a lot of things that Kauravas did to them. Okay, humiliating Draupadi, burning their house, chasing them into the forest, not giving them their rightful properties. Okay, so like this, Duryodhana has earned the wrath of Arjuna and the brothers. So Arjuna has to engage this to kill them. So this is spiritualized. Okay, so moving on to the next verse. Okay, we want to see what are the degrees of lust covered in us. Okay, lust, this is how lust covers the living entity through 3 degrees. Can we have somebody read just the translation?
I'll read, Mataji. As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So here the smoke is lust, the dust is the lust, the womb is the lust. Yeah, embryo is the lust. So the fire is akin to those who have the potential of the seed of spirituality. Okay, so a person who has the seed of spirituality, you need to fan it. You have to fan it so the fire becomes big. So the lust covers them like a smoke. It will dissipate later. You will have more fire later on. Okay, the one that is covered more is like okay, so for this kind of people, right, where the lust is like smoke, you already can give them activities in devotional services for them to do. They can do already because the fire, the spark is there already. Okay, so they'll be able to overcome that lust. Now, in the second level, the lower level is like a mirror covered by dust. For this kind of people, you have to engage them by letting them to hear the Maha Mantra. Okay, so gradually the Maha Mantra will cleanse the person's heart. Okay, so the dust of the lust dust will be removed, will be cleansed. Okay, so this is basically this smoke covered, fire covered by smoke is basically human being. Okay, and glass mirror covered by lust, it could be different kind of human being also. Okay, it could be animals also. Okay, that is why animals also can take part in chanting and hearing. Okay, now the worst one is like the embryo covered in the womb. Now, what is the position of embryo here? What can the embryo do inside this womb? Can you imagine the situation of the embryo here?
Ignorance, is it?
Okay, yes. What else? What is the situation of the embryo here? What is it?
It's trapped, it cannot move.
It cannot move, right? It's so, the move is rigid. Yes, stuck. What else? Because it's stuck, it cannot move. It is so helpless. It can't move. And this is like the trees. They can't do anything. Okay, nothing can go. So this you have to take very long time to evolve and come to this stage or this stage. Okay, they are also living entities, but they've been put in such a condition because in the past they would have had a lot of lustful engagements. Okay, that they're almost void of any consciousness. Okay, so all right, the smoke, fire covered by smoke, like human being, mirror covered by dust are like birds and bees, and embryo covered by the womb are like the trees. Okay, this is a very sad state to be in as a tree. Don't know how many years you have to stand there. Okay, so these are different degrees. Okay, so we move on. So this is to show that what are the chances to help people. Okay, so never give up. Okay, because we are in human being position. So it takes a great deal to come to this position, to this birth. So we should not waste this life. If not, we're going to fall into this and we're going to fall into this. Then it's very difficult to come back, right? So move on to further characteristics of lust. So this is Bhagavad Gita 3.39. I need somebody to read the verses translation. Who has Bhagavad Gita in your hand right now?
I have, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji, read the translation, yeah? 339.
3.39. Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So the first part, I hope everybody is referring to the Bhagavad Gita verse in your hand. The first part of the verse says that our consciousness is our pure consciousness covered by the external enemy, which is the lust, which we studied here. Okay, now the second part is what I want you all to pay attention. It is never satisfied, which burns like fire. How do you put out a fire? I have a question for everyone. How do you put out a fire? You need to pour.
Sure.
Sorry, and we can pour some liquid on the fire to put it out. What liquid we have to put over it? Can we put any liquid on it?
No,
Why no?
because you have to put only carbon dioxide.
Okay. What else?
You cannot put water.
Cannot put water. Small fire can la, Prabhu.
Small fire can.
Can la. Okay. Boleh la. Okay. Can we pour petrol on it? What happens?
Make it worse.
It gets worse. So in the Manusmriti says that lust cannot be satisfied. What is mentioned by Manusmriti is also mentioned by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. So this is how you see the similarity. So when you share things with people, you can always refer to other scriptures. Hey, look, in Manusmriti also it is mentioned that lust cannot be satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment. You can never say one last time. One more time. After this, I put everything, I bunkus and put under the bed. We can never say that. You know why? Because you're feeding the fire with the petrol. You're pouring the petrol in the fire, so it will never be satiated. It cannot be extinguished. But you can only extinguish it by either not feeding it any kind of fuel. You don't put the firewood, you don't put the petrol, okay? You let it die on its own. That is the only way. Yeah, that is the only way. Like a forest fire. Not any amount of water can put out a forest fire. It has to go off by itself, right? Yeah. So this is the application. The application is that Krishna compares lust to fire. So remember, Manusmriti is also saying, so lust is never satisfied with any amount of fuel. It simply grows as you feed it. Okay, the best way is to stop feeding it and let it die. So when you at the next time when you have a certain intense desire to buy this, to buy that, to do this, to do that, just let it die on its own. Never go to the step where one last time. Okay, it doesn't happen. All right, you can try that and see whether I'm saying the truth or not. Okay, now, so we already found the enemy. We already know who is the enemy. What should we do? We should do what the Liam Nielsen is doing. Do you know who is he? Anybody doesn't know who is he? Okay, this is
actor.
He's an
Hollywood actor.
Yeah, no, American actor Liam Nielsen, I think. All right, so his daughter was kidnapped, and finally
Nielsen, right?
Nielsen, right? Nelson.
Nielsen.
Yeah. So unknowingly, his daughter was kidnapped. He didn't know who is the enemy, but the enemy called him. You know, they asked for ransom and all, right? So what he said, I will find you. I will kill you.
Kill you.
To kill him, he has to find him first. So we already know who's the enemy and we need to kill it. To kill it, what do you need to know? To kill something, what do you need to know? You need to know where
Weakness,
is,
right?
yeah, you need to know where is the enemy. You want to know where the enemy's house is, where the enemy is working, or where the enemy will go. So usually all the spies all do this kind of work, right? They will see where this enemy is going, what he's doing, and then they will attack the enemy. So like that, we already know the enemy is the lust, and we want to know where is this lust. That also Krishna is telling us where. So that brings us to the next verse, 3.40. Can we have somebody to read the verse, please? We need to move fast.
I read Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, can I read?
Siapa dulu? Like, yeah, who is Roja Mataji? Is it? Roja
Okay, yeah.
Mataji? Ah, yes.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
Okay. Now, can somebody else tell me where the lust sits? I don't want to call name because I'm afraid that you are not at your place. So, Guna Mataji, are you
In
there?
the mind.
Okay.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence.
Yes, these are the three places the last sits. Okay, so we will move on and see how does that work. Okay, how to conquer the enemy, which is the last, we need to find the sitting places. So Krishna already said these are the sitting places. Okay. Okay, so generally when you want to launch war, okay, or you are in war, you want to find out what is the strategic places for us to attack the enemy, or you want to find out.
Mataji,
Yes.
I want to stop for a while. This one, if you say senses,
Yeah.
senses is just doing the job, right? If you see, you just show you the image.
Okay.
But
Yes,
it's
yes.
the processing part that
The
in
mind.
the mind that
Yes.
the decision.
Correct. You're right.
So we cannot say senses, right? It's the
Okay.
mind, right?
We will see later. I will.
Oh, okay.
There's,
Okay.
we will see,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Ni still story lagi ni. Okay. So when we want to defend ourselves, we want to know where the enemies are sitting. So then you can launch your army in these strategic places. Okay. So we know, okay, this enemy has captured our body in these different strategic positions. Okay. Krishna already given the hint. Where are these places? So we need to launch our I don't know, cannonball to these places. Okay, so we want to know what are these places and what are the cannonballs that we want to throw. Okay, so again, the three sitting places, senses, mind, and intelligence. Okay, so let's move on a bit more here. Now, the mind is the center of all the activities and the senses. Just like Param Prabhu said, the ideas, the thinking, the processes all coming from here. This is where all the ideas for sense gratification breed, live and breed. Okay, the mind says, look, there is enjoyment here, there is enjoyment there. So the lust builds. And how the lust goes out? How is the lust going out? What is the outlet for the lust? The mind is just sitting there like a manager telling us. But how is it being deployed? How is it being activated or engaged? Through what?
Senses, Mataji.
Senses. Through here. Okay, so this mind and senses, they are like best friends. Okay, mind is telling senses, say, okay, let me execute that. Okay, so when we hear about sense objects, okay, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all these ideas of sense gratification. And as a result, the mind and senses both become the repositories of lust. So the lust resides here, these two places. Okay, so now we go to the neighbor. The neighbor of the soul is intelligence. Now, this intelligence is called the capital of lustful propensities. This is the next door of the neighbor. So this lusty intelligence, right? Okay, because the mind has some idea, the senses already executed that. So now they remember the pleasure of executing this, and then they tell the intelligence, let's do that again and again and again. So this tendency becomes the lusty propensities. Now, the lusty propensities is actually will contaminate or influence the spirit soul. What happens is that then the spirit soul will think, I am the enjoyer. Everything this body is doing to satisfy me. So in this way, the soul is getting false ego. So there is ego and there is false ego. The pure ego is to serve Krishna. The false ego is to serve ourselves. And you're following me, right? Okay. So this is what makes us, the soul, to identify itself with matter. So all these sensory sense pleasures is meant for my enjoyment. And by keep doing this, remember, lust, satisfied, become greedy. So we become addicted to enjoy the material senses. And we mistakenly think that this is true happiness. Okay, is that heavy? Okay, everyone. If I ask somebody to explain, can I? All quiet. Everybody okay?
Okay. Continue.
Okay, so Param Prabhu, do you think you can explain this process in your own words or in your own
But
understanding?
you say senses is a repository of lust.
The last
It's the
6,
mind, right? Mind that keeps the memory of which is
correct.
nice, which is
The last has to go out somewhere, through somewhere.
yeah, but they don't obsession lah.
Yeah. Yes.
So that is a feeling, right? Emotion, right?
Yeah, it has to be let out through seeing or speaking or touching or smelling or hearing, right?
That is sort of satisfying the lust, right?
Satisfying the self.
Yeah.
Yes,
The
the
body.
lust is the propensities to do something. The lust is the feeling to do something. So to do something, the senses has to do it. The fingers has to move, the leg has to move, the tongue has to move. So all.
Yeah, but it's directed by the mind.
Yes, Prabhu, but these are all dirty members. Betul tak, Prabhu?
Okay.
Yeah, so they are one gang. Okay, these are the 3 places where the lust sits. Okay. All right, so later.
So you put it as a set lah.
The what?
One
Set.
set.
Yeah, tiga sekawan. Right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now what happens is that, okay, we mistake this as true happiness. So mind, senses, intelligence. And then the intelligence will say, hey, this is better, go for this. Okay, again, it is stored here. And again, the senses keep doing this. So it's again and again this circle. Okay, so now we want to see among these 3 people, we want to see who is superior. Okay, siapa more powerful. So for this, we have to go to chapter 3, text 42. Can somebody read the translation?
I'll read, Mataji.
Mataji, okay.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead, Mataji.
Okay, Saras, Mataji.
The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mataji. Now, I need someone to tell me which is the highest. Or somebody can tell me. Yeah, intelligence. Yes, very good. Thank you, Mataji. I want another person to tell me the hierarchy from the lowest to the highest.
The senses,
Right.
and then it goes on to the mind,
Mhm.
and then to the intelligence, and lastly to the soul.
Okay. So this working senses, is it the lowest or is it better than something else?
Your voice was down. What was your question, Mataji?
The working sense in your hierarchy just now, the lowest on your hierarchy was the senses. Above that is the mind. Above that is the intelligence. Above that is the soul. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now the working senses is better than something. What is that? Look at the verse.
It's a superior dull matter.
Okay. Now this dull matter is referring to the body. This body is built with the Panchabhutas. Okay. The 5 elements. Okay. So the senses are higher than dull matter because the senses is what's moving. Okay, working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. Soul is higher than the intelligence. Okay, so this is to show that who is the boss here. Okay, so of course there is one team, but we want to understand who is the boss here. Now the boss here is who?
Soul.
Yes. So now to buy over a company or you want to strike a deal with the company, you need to speak to the boss. You don't speak to the body or the senses or the mind or the intelligence. You straight go to the soul. Look at the soul. He's the boss sitting at the back. However, even though the soul is the master of intelligence and mind and the senses, if it is not strengthened by association with Krishna, there is every chance of falling down due to the agitated mind. Can you see? If he doesn't have a good manager, the boss will fail in his duties and will cause the collapse of the company. Okay, so is this concept understandable? Yes, soul is the boss, but he has every chance of falling down if he does not have a strong principle. Okay, we can put it like that. Okay, because of this mind. So can you see the mind?
This is what I was saying, Mataji. It's
That's
mind, not
right.
senses. Because the mind is the one makes the decision.
Correct. But here the mind is higher than the senses. So the yes, yeah, I
That's what I was saying just now.
Correct. That's why I
Mind
say
is just, all these senses are doing their duty.
right.
So the mind is the one interprets, how he interprets what the eye is
what the
saying,
senses
or
should
what
do.
is
Yes,
ear is
that-
hearing, or nose is smelling,
Okay.
and all that.
Yeah. So here in this verse, Krishna says the senses, the mind, and the intelligence. So actually, when Krishna gives, he's giving according to the hierarchy. But in this diagram, it becomes like this: the mind, sense, and intelligence, because they are working together. But if you put in perspectives, then the mind, which is better than the senses, has the ability to influence the soul. Correct, Prabhu? The senses is just the working people. It's just like army.
But
Just
here, lust can be anything, right? It can be food. It can be anything you want, wanting badly.
Yes.
Without that, you feel like you want to die like that.
Betul.
Correct?
Yes.
Sorry.
So
Yes.
much that like you cannot forgo that. Like somebody said coffee, right?
Mm.
So your coffee is addiction also, right?
Yeah, can't live without it.
Yeah, so many people cannot do away coffee.
Yeah. But today one Mataji shared 3 days she has renounced it.
So she must have replaced with something else.
With higher taste of what Mataji chanting, I guess, or prasadam. So the senses, right? The soul, right? This like a child. the child may be playing with knife, which is dangerous. So you cannot take the knife and expect the soul to keep quiet, the child to keep quiet. So the mother has to give something more safe, like a ball, like a toy, like a book. So the child will not go for the dangerous item anymore, because he's been given a safer and a better thing, a more suitable thing to play with. So like that, if we want to let go something, we have to go for something higher. You cannot go let go something and go for something lower. So that is the entire idea about this Krishna conscious philosophy. Okay, so now because we are on this, right? So the original situation of the soul is to serve the Lord. If until and unless we serve the Lord, we will try to serve all the inferior things. So if we engage our mind, sense, intelligence in the superior things, then we will not be drawn towards satisfying ourselves with these inferior things. So we need to let go the inferior things. We have to grasp something superior to let go these inferior things. So vice versa, whichever. Okay. All right. So this, I think this concept is okay. Any questions before I move on? Okay, right? Okay, so important is the soul is the boss, but the boss has to be engaged properly. Okay. What else? Okay, why controlling the senses is not sufficient? Because during our sleep, our body is not moving, but the mind is continuously working. This is why we are getting dreams. Okay. However, when we engage all this mind, sense, intelligence, even though, when we engage our mind in a proper way, even though we have lots of desires, but if we know how to engage it, we will be just like snake without fang. It will be a non-dangerous thing. Okay. And how do we do that? By enlightening ourselves. Okay, enlightening two things, by knowing who are we and what is our dharma, what actually our duty is, what actually our purpose is. So if we do these two things, then our senses will not pose any danger to us, just like a snake without fang. Okay, so paham? Let's move on. 3.43. All right, so this is the question, Param Prabhu. How do we study the mind? How do we study the manager? By deliberate spiritual intelligence. Can we have somebody to read, please?
I'll read, Mataji.
Okay.
Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should study the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, like I mentioned in the previous slide, so there is this way that we should follow to conquer this sense, mind, and intelligence. Okay, we need to first steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, okay, or Krishna consciousness. So by having this strength, then we can conquer this insatiable enemy. We cannot stop this. We always go for the one more time, one more cup. Okay, one more cup of coffee, one more cup of tea. Okay, one more morning. After that, I won't take already. So this one more thing. Okay, we cannot be satiated. Okay, we can overcome lust by applying our mind, intelligence, and senses in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so now earlier I said we have to find that where is this enemy sitting. So the enemy has taken certain strategic places in our body. So we already know where are they sitting. And then you're going to launch your cannonballs to kill them. So what are the cannonballs? So you can't use one, you can use one cannonball for everything. You can use customized cannonball to kill each and every of these enemy. So there is a suggestion that which cannonball is suitable to use for which enemy. Okay, now let's talk about this cannonballs here. Okay, so how do we do this? Service. So one cannonball that can kill all the enemies. Okay, chanting, hearing, doing service. Actually, there's 9 devotional service you can use to conquer the enemy at all these places. How do you use mind? I mean, how do you conquer the mind? You could, okay, let me open up everything. Okay, let's go from the lowest, yeah. The control of the senses done by following rules and regulations. If morning you wake up, you have to have your cup of tea or coffee. You wake up, do your prayers, and drink more sattvic food like milk or herbal tea. So it's all about practice. So we have a non-caffeinated drink. We have coffee that's made of barley, which doesn't have caffeine in it. Okay, anyways, caffeine is also not so good, especially for vegetarians, because if you read it medically also, it has tendency to inhibit absorption of iron that we take from food. Okay, so this will bring the iron in your blood low if you take caffeine. Okay, so this one also you can read up. All right, so control the senses by following rules and regulations. Okay, the mind is controlled by regularly chanting the Maha Mantra. The intelligence is strengthened by reading the scriptures. So these are the bullets, the cannonballs that you can use to conquer the enemy. Okay, so if you keep doing this, then your cup will be filled with love for Krishna, thoughts of Krishna, and the intention of you to always serve Krishna. So when your glass is already full, the last will not come in. There's no space already. Okay. Also, another example, just like if you place light in a room, there is no place for darkness. So your room is already filled with sunlight. The sunlight is Krishna. So the darkness cannot come in. Or when Krishna comes in, the darkness disappears. So the conclusion is that we should always try to attack or control this great enemy, the lust, by regulating the mind, intelligence, and senses in Krishna consciousness by doing these activities. Okay, so of course, there are 9 devotional activities, but you can do like this. Consciously, you can do this. Okay, like waking up early, you're doing all this regulated activities in Bhakti. Okay. So I want to ask question on the application of lesson today. What did you understand today? Only 2 points. I just need 2 points. Let's see whether you can hit the bullseye.
Our biggest enemy is lust.
Very good. Okay. So what does this lust do? What does this enemy do? Why did we learn about lust? We have to know, why did we learn about lust? It's all boiled back down to why we are here.
It
Reaction.
takes us away from Krishna, takes us.
Okay, let's talk about the terms, the technical terms. We are here because our sinful reactions. So
it will affect the intelligence and the soul.
Okay, and make us do what?
Sinful activities.
Sinful activities.
Yes, very good. Very good. So hit the bullseye already. Understand the lust is the cause of sinful activities. The next most important thing.
How to keep the lust in check.
Okay, before that.
Oh, where are these lust? The location of the lust.
Very good, Mataji. Very clever. The sitting places of lust. So I don't expect you to remember everything, but at least you remember these 2 main points here. Of course, how to check the lust is also important. I could have put that in, but it's okay. So what are these 3 places? Can I have
mind?
Yes.
Senses and intelligence.
Very good. Okay. So the aim of this week is math, because you all can tell me that lust is the cause of sinful activities, and the sitting places of lust are sense, mind, and intelligence. Okay, what's the time now? It's 9:30 already. We can skip to the video. Okay, is it coming?
Hare Krishna. So the question is how to deal with lust, not lusty desires. First of all, let us understand what we mean by lust, and let us know what is the origin of this lust. And then part 3 would be how to deal with it. So first question, what is lust? Atmendra priti vancha tari boli kam, Krishnendra priti vancha dhari prem nam. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes that the desire to please our senses is kama or lust, while the desire to selflessly please the senses of Sri Krishna is prema or pure love. Now in this world, we fail to distinguish the difference between love and lust. Most of the times, what we see is lust, but it is very nicely covered like a birthday present, decorated saying it is love. We find with passing time, relationships break. You have love couples breaking off. You have mother and son breaking off. So relations in this world are breaking completely. So the desire, everyone who gets into a relationship or deals in this material world has some tinge of selfishness. We don't do anything selflessly or unconditionally. We always do something only when we have some ulterior motive or something that we could gain out of it. Even when we start our academic studies, we have a desire that I want to study so that I get a job. Now somebody tells you that you're not going to get a job, will you still study? Very difficult. Very difficult. So everything is backed up by the result of that activity. You enter a school only so that you get out of that school someday, so that you get a nice job. You get into a job, you work like a donkey. Why? Because you like to work? No. Because the pay that comes up is soothing. So every single step or every decision in our life is made with this desire of getting something in return for our senses. This is described as lust. However, in the colloquial usage, lust boils down to sexual attachment. So what is this origin of this lust? It is described that we are all part and parcel of Krishna in the spiritual world, and we are in a very nice love-filled relationship with Sri Krishna. Now when we leave his association and we come into this material plane or this material contamination, we find that everything gets reflected in a perverted fashion. So the attachment that we have towards Krishna in a selfless manner, which is love, gets reflected and in a perverted fashion in this material world as lust. Therefore, it is very, very difficult to overcome lust, because it is very, very difficult for us to eternally stop loving Krishna. So this lust takes different roots. When it is satisfied, it takes the root of greed. When I want something for myself and I get it, then it takes the path of greed, where I want more. Now, if I want something and that's not satisfied, it takes the path of anger. So therefore, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, all these three emotions must be given up. However, the root is from lust. Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhava. He says it is only lust, Arjuna, which propels us to sin. Trividam narakassedam dvaram nashanam atmanah kama kroda tata loba tasmadeta trayam tajet. Krishna explains that there are three gates to hell: anger, lust, and greed. Therefore, a sane man should give it up. And as we discussed, it starts from lust. Now, how do we control this lust? Is it possible to control lust? Or is it completely, are we just to succumb to this desire? Krishna again explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Krishna explains that this desire to satisfy the self, also called as lust, is very, very difficult to overcome. Duratyaya, very difficult, almost impossible. And the only way we can overcome is we take complete shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Samashitaye padapallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budir vatsa padam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. The Bhagavatam also describes that lust or material suffering in this world, which is like an ocean and we are drowning every day, becomes as insignificant as water held in the hoof print of a calf. So we can very easily overcome, provided we take shelter of Krishna. Now, this is the philosophical aspect. Some practical steps how to control lust. First and foremost, if one aspires to be a brahmachari or a celibate monk throughout his life and is finding difficulty in overcoming this sexual desire, then it is a very it is a good idea or a good decision to step down to grihast ashram, where a person now gets into this ashram, gets married to a good wife, and uses his lusty tendency or his propensity in a positive way to give birth to Krishna conscious children in this world. It is not wrong to have sex, but it is wrong to have it in an illicit or illegitimate manner. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is that lust which doesn't break religious principles. Buddhir buddhirmatamasmi tejas tejasvinamaham balam balavatam chaham kama raga vivarjitam dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarashava. Krishna says, I am that lust which follows or which is on the basis of proper scriptural rules and regulations. So when one gets married and according to the instruction of Guru and the blessings of the Vaishnavas becomes a parent and trains the child to become a good devotee of the Lord, that is proper utilization of lust. But however, if one aims to be a brahmachari and is having some lusty fluctuations, then we must understand we must push ourselves more in the service of the Lord. If we are 50% in Krishna consciousness, then we are 50% in Maya. We have to push ourselves 100% in Krishna consciousness by being in the association of elevated brahmacharis, so that our lusty tendencies are properly subdued and properly channelized in the right perspective. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Right, so that's it. Any questions? I will share the PDF shortly. Is everything okay? Is it heavy? Okay or not? Can we apply what we learned today? Now that we have dissected it, we know where is the location and what we should do. I think it should be easy for us to understand ourselves. Right, chapter 3 is generally pretty heavy, technical. I actually found chapter 3 was pretty heavy also initially for me, but it has a lots of very important things for us to apply and very, very basic things. So if you can understand this, it's going to be very helpful for us to understand ourselves. That's what I think about this chapter. And next is this chapter 13 is also another difficult chapter in my opinion. But once I understood it, I realized how much it's important for us to understand that. Okay, any questions? So you can go through the PDF. If you feel it heavy, just listen to it again. And if you still have any questions, so please do ask. You can message me anytime. Okay. So that's about it. Sonia Mataji, are you there? I haven't heard from you today. Okay, if there's no question, thank you so much for coming and staying. It's very late, 9:45 already. Okay, earlier I called you to read something. Okay, never mind. We will read next time in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.